Now on Meridian, it's 3 o'clock and time for a look at the headlines.
Good afternoon. In the last half an hour, the Foreign Secretary has advised Britons in Bali and the rest of Indonesia to leave the country. Australians staying in Bali have already been given the same warning by their government. The announcement by Jack Straw follows reports of new terrorist threats.
In the light of further information and consideration this morning, I've now agreed that we should advise against all travel to Indonesia and also to recommend that all British citizens should consider leaving Indonesia if their presence is not essential.
The Court of Appeal has been told that the case against Jeremy Bamber, who's serving life for murdering his family, has been seriously weakened. Lawyers for Bamber, seen here at his trial in 1985, made the claim at the start of the 3-week hearing. Women with breast cancer may be having unnecessary mastectomies, that's according to new research. The studies show that simply removing the tumour may be just as effective as taking away the whole breast. David Seaman is facing calls to quit international football after his blunder against Macedonia. The goalkeeper let a corner loop over his head to give the opposition the lead. Afterwards, he looked depressed, although his teammates have given him their support. That's it for now. I'm back with Mark Austin for the ITV Evening News at 6:30. Goodbye.
Good afternoon. Patients in Hampshire are being urged to avoid a hospital's accident and emergency department in Portsmouth. Staff at the Queen Alexandra Hospital have been hit by a virus. There have been waits of up to 11 hours in the casualty department, and some cases have been switched to Southampton General Hospital. Our reporter Sue Greenfield is at the hospital. Sue.
Well, the first cases of people suffering from the virus were discovered here earlier this week, with one more case overnight. But staff here have moved quickly to try to contain the virus. 3 wards have been closed at the Queen Alexandra Hospital in Cosham following the outbreak of the virus. On Tuesday night, 4 emergency patients had to be diverted to Southampton General Hospital because of a shortage of beds.
Well, it basically means that we're under particular pressure when it comes to finding beds for all the patients who are trying to come in. 3 wards out of our total bed stock is quite a quantity to be lost, and as a consequence, people are having to work extremely long hours to actually make sure that we keep patients coming into the hospital.
Currently, 11 patients have the virus, which causes severe diarrhoea. 29 beds have been isolated to stop the illness spreading. It's not clear how long they'll remain out of action.
One of the good news pieces is that we've actually reopened one of the wards now to partial admissions today, but we have had one further patient with symptoms today. We don't really know how long it'll go on for.
But the hospital stresses staff are working flat out to ensure patients are treated as quickly as possible. Now, this virus is totally separate from the Norwalk virus, which hit hospitals across the south in the last few weeks. Doctors say this one isn't quite as serious, but they are urging people to avoid using the accident and emergency department here. They're asking people to go to their GP, their pharmacist, or contact NHS Direct and only come here if it's absolutely necessary. Now, if people want to come here to visit patients, whether they're relatives or friends, doctors here are saying that is okay. The virus has been contained to the areas which are now closed off, so they're saying there is no danger to public health.
Sue, thank you. An inquest has been opened and adjourned into the death of Surrey schoolgirl Amanda Dowler. 13-year-old Amanda, who was known as Millie, disappeared from Walton in March. Her remains were discovered last month in woods at Yateley Heath Forest near Fleet. Today, the Surrey coroner acknowledged the ongoing police investigation into her death and allowed her body to be released to her parents for burial. A young woman from Brighton is recovering after she was sexually assaulted by 2 men. The 20-year-old was walking along Buller Road when the men started shouting abuse, then attacked her. They're described as black, tall and aged 35 to 40. Police are appealing for witnesses. A mopping-up operation has been taking place at the Fawley refinery near Southampton after an oil spill. Originally, it was thought that 100 tonnes of oil had leaked from a pipe. Later, it was confirmed that the figure was 1,500 tonnes. Esso says the oil didn't reach Southampton water or the Saltmarsh area. The inquest into the death of a friend of TV presenter Chris Evans, who fell into the sea off the Isle of Wight, is taking place today. Publican James Ward from Surrey was on a yacht with Mr. Evans when the accident happened.
It was a day organised to celebrate the birthday of a friend and business partner, but it ended in tragedy. It was late evening on August the 7th when a group of friends were sailing back from the Isle of Wight to Hamble in Hampshire. On board the luxury yacht was the celebrity Chris Evans. His friend, James Ward, the landlord of the local pub in Hascombe, was the skipper. But the celebrations came to an abrupt end when the boom on the boat knocked him unconscious and he fell overboard. He was not wearing a life jacket at the time. His friends were unable to operate the radio or lights on the boat to help rescuers find him. One of the group managed to alert the emergency services using his mobile phone. More than 300 family and friends attended his funeral, and today the inquest begins into the accident. Amanda Piper for Meridian News.
Well, England's performance on the football pitch might not have lived up to expectations, but the Southampton Stadium staff have done themselves proud, and the fans put on a good show too. There was just a handful of arrests at the St Mary's ground last night. The international game was the biggest the city's ever seen.
It was the largest police operation ever in Hampshire and one of the biggest sporting occasions to take place in the south. 20,000 people travelled from all over the country and police were on high alert. 300 officers were brought into Southampton to cope with any outbreaks of trouble.